welcome, 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 and thank you. This is the best part of the night for me, but I know it's also I hate doing it because it's such a good networking event and it's such a good cocktail party that I hate stopping it or slowing it down. But we have a great program tonight. We're honoring some fantastic individuals. So bear with me. The bars will open up again. So, and if there's any food left, they'll bring it around. And if not, you go downstairs and eat. So we're going to go on for a little while, but not too long. But we've got some really great speakers, and I think you're all going to very, very much enjoy, I know I am, to hear from them. So my name's Tim Cahill. I am the president of the Quincy Chamber of Commerce, and we welcome you here to the 2023 Business Showcase and Annual Meeting. This is not a traditional annual meeting that you might come to at a chamber or bank where we go through the finances and everything's formal. It's very, very informal. And again, we want to spend the time at our annual meeting honoring you, your businesses, the folks here that make us, not talk about us, but talk about what you do. And it's been a phenomenal, phenomenal turnout. The best one we've had since 2019. So congratulations to you all for being here. They say timing is everything when you're giving a speech. So the findings of a poll released today in the Wall Street Journal claims that patriotism, religious faith, having children, and other priorities that help define America are receding. It also says that the share of Americans who believe in giving back to their community and hard work has also fallen. My answer to the pollsters is come to Quincy. Especially on a night like tonight, where you witness the America that the pollsters missed. A former president once said, "There is nothing wrong with America that cannot be cured by what is right with America." And proof of that exists in this room tonight. So put away the social media, do not read newspapers like I do, stay off TV, and just enjoy the night. And realize when you go home today that the world has not ended, this country is not crumbling, as long as you all are committed to what you do. Because it is the business of America that makes America go. So thank you all very, very much. Our Hall of Fame inductees, Rob Hale and Jimmy Liang, and award winners Jay Southwood and Marina Kapi, represent the absolute best that this country has to offer, as do the more than 50 small businesses and nonprofits that showcase themselves here tonight. And I thank you also for being here. They represent a vital part of what makes Quincy so special and the Quincy Chamber of Commerce unique. Before we begin the formal part of our program, I would like to single out, but I'm going to pass this honor along to my chairwoman, Janet Batson, who will single out and acknowledge the special companies that make this program happen, our sponsors. So without further ado, the chairwoman of the Quincy Chamber of Commerce from the Galvin Companies, Janet Batson.
Welcome, everyone, to the 2023 Quincy Chamber of Commerce Annual Meeting. For those of you that I haven't had a chance to meet, my name is Janet Batson. My day job is the Vice President of Sales and Leasing for the Galvin Development Company, and I'm here tonight in my role as Chair of the Board of the Quincy Chamber of Commerce. I'd like to start by thanking all of you for being here and for tonight's many sponsors, especially Jim Dunphy and South Shore Bank, our event sponsor and a great partner for the Chamber. We have two Hall of Fame sponsors, Bank of Canton and Beth Israel Deaconess Milden. We have four cocktail sponsors, Baker, Braverman, and Barbadero, the Galvin Construction Company, Gather Health, Murphy, Hesse, Toomey, and Lehane. Thank you very much. And then we have a number of sponsors for the Bruce Wood Grant. Kathy Wood, Colonial Federal Savings Bank, Common Market Restaurants, Commonwealth Building, Galvin Construction Company, Curry Ace Paint and Hardware, DePisa and Company, Dive Technologies, Eastern Bank, Fleming and Fleming, Cohane Funeral Home, and the Shiner Group. And most of them are good friends of the Wood family and Bruce Wood himself. So thank you. Do you want to do your part? No. I can take it. Okay. So this year has been both exciting and rewarding. And I want to take this opportunity to thank all of you for making our many successes possible. As you all know, the last couple of years have been challenging, but this past year, we have made up some serious ground. We brought back and sold out 4 Leadership Series breakfasts, hosted more than 24 in-person networking events, continued our many virtual lunch and learns and morning brews, graduated our first class in our Quincy Entrepreneurship Training Program, or QUEST as it's known, and we are currently starting another class right now that's, I think, 3 or 4 weeks in. And in September, we're again looking forward to hosting our Golf Classic at President's Golf Course. Through the Kilroy Square Farmers Market, the Kilroy Square Holiday Market, and Beer Garden, we have brought thousands of shoppers to downtown Quincy while helping many artisans and small businesses along the way. Last year, with the support of past chair, Krista Haggerty, the Quincy Young Professionals made a comeback, and under the leadership of Larry Luluzzo, the QYP has hosted over a dozen networking events and are growing in numbers. I want to thank our Quincy Chamber ambassadors and committee chair, Helen Shiner, for all the outreach and goodwill that they continue to spread to our members. This year, we kicked off the newly created President's Trail with the author of American Rebels, Nina Sankovich, at Peacefields at the Adams National Historic Site. We also created the Quincy Women's Leadership Network. This is an organization for female entrepreneurs and businesses that will create opportunities to learn, create, connect, network, and collaborate, and help foster a supportive network to elevate the profile of businesswomen in the Quincy community. Our chamber has expanded by leaps and bounds. Due to our activities and outreach over the past year, I want to thank Tim Cahill and his staff. You can clap. And his staff, Paula Petrovich, Melissa Burke, and Orla McCarthy, for their tireless efforts in getting us back to normal. So thank you, Tim. More than 70 new businesses have joined us since last year. In addition, we've brought the Marina Bay Business Association into the fold as partner and member association, bringing the total growth to more than 125 new businesses. Less than 3 months into our partnership with them, we created the first Lighted Up Marina Bay for this past holiday season, bringing thousands of residents to the boardwalk in the month of December. With over 500 members of the Quincy Chamber of Commerce, we have worked for the entire Quincy business community to help you continue to grow, thrive, and prosper in 2023. Thank you all again. Very much appreciated.
I just want to acknowledge some of the folks that are here beyond the sponsors, which Janet already did. I want to thank our host, Granite Links, here tonight, the O'Connell family for what they do for us, and here's to 99 more years of this, if we can make that work. I especially want to thank our mayor, Tom Koch, for being the most supportive and pro-business mayor in the city's history. Thank you, Mayor Koch, for everything you do for us. Having served in the government here in Quincy a long time ago, I can say without equivocation that this is a great administration and great leadership throughout the entire city, led by our mayor. There isn't a thing that gets done, there isn't a thing he doesn't notice, and there isn't a way that you can't do business in this city. And it's amazing when you have to do it, when you figure it out, especially when you go somewhere else. What the city has done for us really has made this event and help make this chamber what it is today. So I'd also like to acknowledge the elected officials that work with the mayor and also some of our county officials that are in attendance tonight. Council President Noel DeBona is here, or was here. Noel, if you're here. Norfolk County Sheriff Patrick McDermott is here, or his table was here and he was represented tonight. Ward 3 Councilor Ian Kane is here. Ward 3 Councilor Ian Kane. Thank you. Ward 4 Councilor Jim Devine. New Ward 4 Councilor Jim Devine. Ward 5 Councilor Chuck Phelan is here. Norfolk County Sheriff Mike Bellotti is here, or was here. And 2 members of our school committee are here. Catherine Hubley is here. And someone by the name of Tina Cahill is here as well. I know her. We thank her for what she's done for us. And also my board members. First Vice Chair, Mr. Jim Dunphy, thank you very much for all that you do for us. Clerk Ryan Barrett, who will be up later. Treasurer Helen Shiner. Executive Committee Member Larry Luizzo. Rich Fernandez from Milton Hospital. Tai T from Bank of Canton. John Eng from Merrill Lynch. Jimmy Liang from Fuji. Rick Doan from Interfaith. And Jen Orman from Coffee Break Cafe. And I hope I didn't miss anyone. Okay. Obviously, you've met our chair already, Janet Batson, so Janet is here as well, obviously. And I believe at-large Councilor Ann Mahoney is here as well, so I want to introduce and acknowledge Ann for being here. Thank you. The plan for the Hall of Fame, first Hall of Fame induction ceremony was to have Steve Costello, the CEO of Bank of Canton, come up to introduce our first recipient. Unfortunately, Steve had an emergency and couldn't make it, so I have the honor and privilege of doing that. Also, I hope I get it right, Rob, so you hold me to it, all right? I'm going to introduce our first inductee into the Business Hall of Fame. Rob Hale is one of the most successful entrepreneurs in America. He created Granite Telecommunications 20 years ago on Copeland Street in Quincy, and today Granite is the largest independent telecommunications provider in the United States. His success at Granite has afforded him and his family the opportunity to give back to causes him and his wife Karen hold dear. Investing in area hospitals to support efforts to eradicate pancreatic cancer, assisting nonprofits through last year's 50 for 50 million commitment, and a commitment to give to those less fortunate. He is also an owner of the Boston Celtics, so this chamber has the honor of having 2 owners of the Boston Celtics speak at our annual meeting. We had Wick Grousbeck back in 2018, and now Rob Hale. Thank you for that, Rob. And his real estate development, Fox Rock. He has made major investments in the city that gave him his start in business. Fox Rock is currently in the building and development phase for 3 major residential and commercial projects in Quincy: Ashler Park, 1170 to 1200 Hancock Street, and the Switch Point on the parking way in Quincy. And he will tell us about a number of the lessons that he has learned and make sure that you want to listen. So a member of the 2023 Quincy Business Hall of Fame class, Mr. Rob Hale.
This is quite an honor. Thank you. Thank you. It's ironic that I'm being honored in the Quincy Business Hall of Fame because the last public company that I ran in Quincy went bankrupt. And I lost $1.5 billion in that transaction. Maybe that's why Steve didn't want to show up and present me the award. He's like, I'm not banking that guy. So, in all sincerity, I don't know why I've been given this award. And honestly, I think, Tim, is it really because Phyllis can't do this every year? Shouldn't Phyllis be doing this every year? And honestly, like, there's only a few of us looking this way. If everyone wants to start sliding out like the back door quickly, no one will know, I promise you. So, since we're here, let's make the most of it. Quincy is bedrock to my family, to our businesses, and it's the foundation upon which everything that, all the successes that we've had were built. Speaking of family, I do want to introduce 2 special guests. My mom is here. And my mom has a distinct role. Like, if this speech bombs, which is 50-50. It could go that way. She's going to tell me, oh my goodness, you looked handsome in your new suit. So Nana, get ready for that, please. And by the way, she's from Braintree, and I asked the mayor, I'm like, listen, Mr. Mayor, historically, and you guys know he's a historian, right? And so I said, Mr. Mayor, was Quincy the original city or Braintree the original city? And he clarified, in fact, Braintree was the original city. She's from Braintree, so I was going to say she's really a suburb of Quincy, but Quincy's really a suburb of Braintree, to be honest. Give it up for a Braintree girl doing Yale. Did I get it right, Mr. Mayor?
You forgot Mount Wollaston, but that's all right.
Right. We still have Mount Wollaston, he affirmed for me, and I'm like, well, I never heard of that, to be honest. I don't know where that is. And my wife's here. So my wife's Karen, please, if you would warm up for my wife, Karen. And so she's going to play a different role that she comes by naturally. If this goes well, she's going to tell me, well, your suit actually didn't fit, and you look kind of like a schlep rock on stage. So.
Just told me you look better.
Thank you. I do have 3 lessons that I want to share with you, all of which were learned in Quincy. So these are lessons that you taught me. I'll give you a really quick, brief background on my life, simply because that preamble defines these lessons. So I graduated in '88, and I went to work in sales for MCI, which was a long-distance company. Loved every minute of it. There was this thing called aggregation, which was bulk buying of AT&T services. A couple customers of mine asked me, what is aggregation? And I said, I don't know what it is, but I'll look into it. And as I looked into it, I said to my dad and my mom, we can do this. And so, as Tim mentioned, I'm very fortunate right now. And the number I'm going to tell you at the time meant a lot. To me right now, probably not a mega big number. So my parents put up $400,000. At the time, it was their nest egg. And so I need you to know, Nana, without that, none of this exists. So thank you. So they put up their nest egg, and at the ripe age of 23, I was the founder, and they were the funders of a company called Network Plus, which was in Crown Colony. Back. Oh, if I wander too far, it goes away? I think it's the third chin, actually. It kind of cuts it out.
All of you, I hope, are familiar with Crown Colony. We were 300 Crown Colony. We were 5th floor. We sublet from Kennedy and Lehan. 1991, we lost money. 1990, I'm sorry, we lost money. From 91 to 98, we grew profitably. Ultimately, we moved out of Crown Colony. We bought 234 Copeland Street. 1998, Goldman Sachs cold called me and said, would you like to do a bond offering? And I said, listen, I'm a phone guy. I don't know what that is. I'm not a finance guy. They said, if you do a bond offering, you could do an IPO. And they said, and you will be a billionaire. And I said, I love bond offerings, as a matter of fact. I want to do a bond offering. Yes, please. So we did do an IPO, and what they said was going to happen, happened. Remember 3-4 years ago when the tech stocks were really sexy and there was so much demand for them that they would, in an IPO, the opening trade didn't happen until a level much higher than the original strike price because the demand was so high. That's what happened to us. We were one of those kind of sexy stocks that we were supposed to open at 16. The original trade didn't happen until 26. In that time, we were expanding, and we bought a building over in Randolph, which is the only time that I ever left Quincy. And that stock went from $26 up to like $63 over 9 months. And I own 27 million shares. So I had $1.4 billion next to my name. According to Forbes, at one juncture, I was the 7th wealthiest guy in the world under 40. And now if the story ends there, that would be really cool. Let's know where the story ends. So you remember March of 2000, a bubble burst? Well, it felt like it burst primarily in my face. Because that stock for 9 months went like this for the next 18 months, and March of 2000, it just literally just went down and down and down and down and down, and nothing could stop it in the beginning from going up, nothing could stop it in the beginning from going down. So unfortunately, in the fall of 2001, Goldman and Fleet and CSFB, which were our banks, they're not here, are they? If they were, I'd have them get up and get a golf clap. But they said to us, listen, you have a bank line, it's going to expire, and we're not going to renew it. And we were EBITDA positive. We'd never missed a covenant. And I know there's a million bankers in the room, so you know what covenants are. And yet they said, we just don't bank CLEX anymore. Simple as that. Bad luck. And so on February 4th of 2002, we were forced into bankruptcy. And so February 4th of 2002, I got pretty close to the bottom. That morning, that stock, which remember, it had been $1.4 billion 8 or 9 months before, officially and finally ceased to exist. And so that stock went from $1.4 billion to zero. So I officially that morning lost $1.4 billion, never to come back. That morning it got worse. We got debtor in possession financing, which again, the bankers know what it is. It's why Steve Costello doesn't want to be here, because he doesn't want to do debtor in possession financing. It's financing you take into bankruptcy. But there was a contingency, and the contingency was you had to let go of the whole sales force. So at my core, I'm a salesperson, and I believe that those 400 salespeople joined Network Plus because they believed in me and trusted me. And I had to tell 400 guys that I let you down. I betrayed you. You joined because of me and you don't have jobs anymore. All 400 in one conference call. That afternoon it got worse. My wife's at home with a 2-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 6-year-old running around on the floor. She picks up the phone, and the guy at the end of the phone says, because of what your husband's done, I'm coming to kill you. So I've seen the bottom, and it stings. And to be honest, there are people in this community who poured salt on my wound. I'm going to overshare with you, but I'm going to share with you. Those are actions, they're all very real, and then there are comments that sting as much. At one juncture, my wife said to me, when you were going through that, I don't know if I started to wonder whether you really love me anymore. And so that's real. That hurts. And I want you to know that it was your being steadfast and rock solid that got us through all that stuff. Those were tough times, but you were a rock and you always had fun.
Other people, and I doubt they're here, but I'm kind of going to pick on him. He used to be on the board with me at the Y. I see some of the Y leadership over there. And so it's 2002, we're trying to regroup, right? Start a new company, so started cold calling. And we cold called within Quincy, because I'm, Quincy guy, right? So that's where I'll start my cold calls. And I called this guy, and he says to me, I explain what we're doing, and he says to me, isn't it ironic? Lord, strike me down if he didn't say this verbatim to me. Isn't it ironic that about 6, 7, 8 months ago, all of Wall Street used to kiss your ass, and now you have to kiss my secretary's ass to get phone bills? And I was like, yeah, that's ironic. That's really ironic. But I'll never forget it, and I swear it's gas for the fire. Another business person in Quincy said to me, I'm cold calling, and I say, it's Rob Hale from the new company, Brand Edge. And she says to me, Rob Hale, is it any coincidence that you have the same last name as that guy who was selling that around here a couple of years ago? And I'm like, no, it's no coincidence. So I won't forget that stuff. People say that stuff to you, and it hurts. The actions I just talked about, they hurt. But the truth is, most of us, and I'm looking around the room and I see a lot of entrepreneurs, I see a lot of hustlers, I see a lot of people who want more out of their lives. And guess what? Don't let failure define you. Tim mentioned a couple of cool things that have happened to me. Every single one of those things that happened to me happened after everything that I've just said to you. So if failure to find me, or if I feared it, I honestly don't know what I'd be doing, but I sure as good as would be up here talking to you. So to me, we're risk takers, we're entrepreneurs, we're hustlers. Failure is part of the process. And if you don't fail, then you're probably not trying hard enough. So the first lesson I would say that I learned here in Quincy, and I told you all that stuff, when I moved to Randolph is when bad things happened to me. I moved to Randolph here. But truth is, it's okay to fail. It's okay. It's part of the process. And I'm telling you, it hurts, but you can get through it. And if you keep your nose to the grindstone, and you have good intentions, you work hard, I'm almost certain in the long run you'll win. Lesson number 2, which is coincides with the beginning of Granite. So just to give you some Quincy fact checking, Network Plus has failed, and as I mentioned, and I'm being very sincere about this, from 91 to 99 we were in Copeland Street, and then we bought Pasella Park over in Randolph. And then in like 2001 and 2, that's all the bad things happened to me. And honestly, I was like, I can't get back to Quincy fast enough. I'm telling you the truth. I was like, I got it. Like, Quincy's bedrock, Quincy's blue collar, Quincy's hardworking. It is what I am. I made a mistake going there, but I'm going back. And so the name, granted, I'm telling you, there are not a lot of telecoms that are named after a stone. They're named after speed things and light and sexy things. I'm telling you, the core of what we wanted was a foundation that embodied Quincy for me. So our name really comes from the culture of this community, which, as Tim mentioned, is rock solid and always will be. So our name is you guys. So our beginning was so illustrious that we, the very first office space we had was at the intersection of Copeland and Furnace Brook. You know that lamp store? I mean, you know that, like, if you don't know that lamp store, then you're not from Quincy. Like, honestly. Right? Right? I'm telling you, if you're not nodding, nod like you know what I'm talking about, because right now you don't know anything about Quincy, and we all know you're not from here. Okay? So that lamp store was way nicer than our space, because we rented, the guy who owns that's named Chick, he's the nicest guy in the world. We rented from Chick the space above it. Right? And it's so illustrious now. Do you know what's in there now? I mean, so this is the business pedigree that we came from. There's a psychic there now. Actually, Mr. Mayor, I see you coming in and out of there all the time. Customer of the year, 2 or 3 years in a row. That's wonderful. So that's where we began. Then we went across the street to Copeland Street, to 234. And then as we started to progress, we bought a building over on Newport Ave, 100 Newport Ave, and then we bought 150, and then we bought 1 Heritage. So we're about 2,500 people, about 1,500 of us are in Quincy. And as you know, I've been very lucky. Some of my teammates are here from Fox Rock, back in the left-hand corner of the room. Been very lucky to be part of the real estate, in which, by the way, I'm going to say this sincerely, I don't think there's a better business leader in the state for their city than the mayor is for us. I think and I say that sincerely. So back to the beginning of Granite, lesson number 2. Beginning of Granite. We started, we were to do what our industry said we should do, what Wall Street said we should do, which is you do wholesale to get in the game, and then you build switches, because our industry and Wall Street told us that to control the customer and create value, you had to have them on your switch. That's what the industry and Wall Street had said. That's really all there was for competitive telephony. So that's honestly what we set out to do. and we did wholesale simply because we didn't have any money. So you do a quick wholesale deal with Verizon, which is just wholesaling phone lines. And it allows you to get into the game, and we were going to build scale, and then as we built scale, we were going to deploy switches. So we did wholesale with Verizon. We were very fortunate. Walmart and Walgreens said, hey, this wholesaling and discounting sounds like a good idea. Let's discount as a beta test our Boston area stores. Shortly thereafter, they said, let's discount as an expanded beta test all of the stores in New England. Shortly thereafter, they said, this is working pretty well. Let's try the discounting and aggregation for all of the Northeast. And almost the same day, they brought us up to Bentonville and Chicago and said, hey, this discounting and wholesaling, this aggregating of our service, this is working. We like it. We're going to do this for the rest of the country. We may do this with you, we may not, but we are going to do this. So by the time the wheels touch on I have to make a decision. Are we going to do what Wall Street and our industry said, which is build critical mass in a region and then deploy switches to create a regional carrier and create value? That's the only model that ever existed. Or are we going to do what the first and fifth biggest retailer in the planet suggests you should do, which is become essentially a national wholesaler? And so there's a lot of businesses now in aggregation, but we invented it. And so we've created 2,500 American jobs. As mentioned, we're very fortunate to be able to put a lot of money to work in our communities. And we get a lot of awards for Entrepreneur of the Year, and it's really cool. And people always say, how'd you get that great idea? The truth is, we didn't. They did. We just had the common sense to listen to them. So lesson number 2 from me would be, listen to your customers. They will tell you what matters, and if you react to it aggressively, chances are it will lead you to great opportunities. Listen to your customers. Lesson number 3, and if you take away any lesson from me today, tonight, this is the most important one. Keep your integrity. Thank you. But I haven't told you the story yet. She's just clapping for me to get off the stage. She's like, dude, come on, there's an open bar. Yes. She's like, come on, there's an open bar. Fatty, get off the stage, Jesus. All good. Oh, we're good. We're good. So, end of Granite. We're public, I'm sorry, terrible. End of Network Plus. We're a public company. I don't know if any of you guys ever run a public company. It's not fun. I refer to it as the 90-day guillotine. In other words, you got to make numbers every 90 days, and if you don't make your numbers, then Wall Street puts a guillotine on your head. That's what happens. And I hated it. Even when we were high in the hall, I hated it. That being said, when your industry is cratering around you, which it was, 41 of 43 public CLECs, which is what we were, went through restructure between 2000 and 2020 and 2002. So the industry is dropping like flies. I know they're all dropping like flies. You don't make your numbers, they're going to guillotine you, and chances are you don't make your numbers, you're probably out of business. So Quest calls me and says, hey, Rob, would you like to do fiber swaps? And there are no telco people in the room, and even if there are, you probably don't know what that means. In layman's terms, it's would you like to take CapEx and turn it into OpEx? And I'm telling you, it's like fool's gold. It's, you could bring $2 million worth of cash and bring it into operating income. And again, if you've ever run a public company, if you had $2 million worth of windfall profit to make your numbers, you'd be like, yes, we want to do that. Yes, I do want to do that. But I said to our CFO, Bob Cabuzzi's his name, it's an old salt, and I owe him, I'm indebted to him for the rest of my life. I think we should do this. He said, I don't think we should. Let's talk to PricewaterhouseCoopers about it. PwC says, I don't think you should do this. So I call back, Bob tells me no, we call back Quest, and I say, hey, listen, I don't think we should do this. And the guy says to me in a very condescending fashion, why not? I said, because PwC said we shouldn't. He said, and again, verbatim, he says to me, Rob, you're a $250 million pissant. We're a $20 billion CLEC. And Arthur Anderson says it's fine. What's the difference between Arthur Anderson and PwC? They're both big five. I think good point. So I go back to Kaboozy and I say, Bob, why don't we do this? Let's take a harder look at this. And he said, I'm going to ask again for PwC, but my strong advice is don't do this. PwC says, Rod, don't do this. So I'm CEO, I cast this vote, and I listen to those two guys. You know where the CEO of Quest is now? Jail. The sheriff, where's the sheriff? Sheriff just left, right? He might have had him for a couple of months. He's in jail 20 years later. His henchmen, the guys who wrote his deals, they're banned from public industry for the rest of their lives. So Perseus said, it's better to fail with honor than succeed through fraud. So the truth is, I sit here today because, as I mentioned, we took chances and we failed. That's okay. We kept our integrity, so we got a chance to play the game again. But if you don't keep your integrity, you can't play the game again. So final lesson I would give to you, keep your integrity. Tim, it's an honor. Quincy, you're my home. Mayor, you do a wonderful job. Thank you, everybody. Have a great night.
So, sorry, Jimmy. Jimmy, you're going to have to follow that, okay? So I'm so very sorry.
Thanks, Rob.
It was spectacular. It was spectacular, and I hope everyone takes it to heart, because that's exactly what we're all up against and what being an entrepreneur is all about. And there's nothing more important than integrity at the end of the day, because you can go to bed and sleep with yourself. To present our second inductee into our Business Hall of Fame, I would ask the CEO of Beth Israel Deaconess Milton Hospital, Rich Fernandez, to come to the stage and present Jimmy Liang.
That was a tough act to follow. I'm going to keep the mic right here because I noticed it was going out a little bit with you there. So I get the pleasure of introducing to our Hall of Fame Jimmy Liang and Peter C., who I don't think Peter is here tonight, so I'm just going to focus on Jimmy. You know, Jimmy, I think everybody knows Jimmy. He grew up in Quincy. Him and Peter both went to North Quincy High. They played basketball. They started their first sushi restaurant in 1998. I think we're one of the landmarks in downtown Quincy, and I think it was 2018. I just started in 17, so I think I was fresh in your restaurant probably really quick there. But obviously, they're a huge name in Quincy and in Metro Boston. And I got the opportunity to meet Jimmy from wonderful Helen Shin Schulte right over there. I had started at Milton, and I was asking, yes. I was started at Quincy and I was at Milton Hospital, and I said, we were out talking to people. I said, who do you need to know in Quincy? And she said, you got to meet this guy, Jimmy Liang. And I can tell you, you know, as a friend of the hospital, as a friend of this community, I felt like the minute I met him, he was my brother. He was right behind us. Remember that thing back, COVID 2020? Guess who was the first phone call to my office? I got masks. I got this. What do you need? Food for your staff. Tell me what you need. And to me, Jimmy does that for his friends, for the city of Quincy, and they've done it because that's who they are. I would say Jimmy, he's hosted numerous events for our medical staff, for our staff. All I do is pick up the phone, he says yes. And I know you treat your employees the same way because you've told me about some of the amazing benefits and getting them acclimated to the city. So thank you for your friendship, for your partnership to the hospital. But I also know Jimmy is a whole lot bigger than just Quincy. You know, they founded this restaurant business, and I don't keep track anymore how many locations they have. All I know is if you've ever been to Fuji on Hancock Street, you'll be going back very soon. But they also give back to their community, just like we heard earlier. You know, they just in charities like the Taste of Ginger, the Jimmy Fund, Empower Her, the South Shore YMCA, and they raise money for the North Quincy men's and women's basketball team, which I haven't played with you, Jimmy, but you know, maybe one day we'll have to play. But really, on behalf of everybody in Quincy, I know you all join me in welcoming him to the Hall of Fame. So deserving. Quincy's in his blood. Quincy will always be in his blood, no matter how many restaurants and what scale he brings it to, because he always has something up his sleeve. But Jimmy, congratulations and welcome to the Quincy Chamber Hall of Fame. Pictures? You're in the middle.
Tim, thanks for pulling that down. You know I'm vertically challenged. So, thank you. Thank you. This is, you know, I'm going to read something that Rob, it's too tough for me to follow, so I just have a little blurb that I wrote. So, good evening. Thank you. This is, okay, I'm just going to read this because I'm getting a little, anyhow. Thank you to all that have come before me. You have paved the way for all of this to happen. I stand here on behalf of JP Fuji Group. We are thankful, humbled, grateful. The honor bestowed upon us is historic. If anyone asked me when we first started 25 years ago that this would happen, I would probably reply from I don't know to hopefully, but I would also think it to be crazy. I cannot believe we're among the greats of this city. I think we have become Quincy business royalty, honestly. We started our journey with wanting to work hard and hoping we can change our lives for the better. Peter C., my co-founder, and I shared the same wallet, bank account for many years. And the reason for that was because we didn't have anything and we were starting out and struggling. 1997, I remember walking to City Clerk Joe Shea's office. First meeting Miss Cindy Manning, then Joe. It was like doing a school project. I was 18 years old with resumes in hand. Miss Manning gave me applications and Joe walked me through filling them out. I didn't even have an attorney. Joe then introduced me to various department commissioners and I ended up working closely with Commissioners Jane Gallagher and Walter White at the time. Thank you for giving an 18-year-old kid a chance. My grandmother had always taught me to leave a place a little better than I found it. Hopefully we have been able to help contribute to our family, our community, our Quincy, and along the way with care, love, and food. This is our home. Together, working with everyone in the city of Quincy, we can all make our home greater. Thank you, Quincy. And I want to thank Mr. Tim Cahill, State Treasurer, Quincy Chamber of Commerce, the Mayor, the City of Quincy. If I'm missing anyone, I'm sorry. Josephine, the Shea family. All the city councilors, all the business people, you guys have been my inspiration, you guys have been my support. Quincy, for lack of a better term, and I'm not trying to, anyways, like granite. Quincy is my granite. So I just want to introduce my team, because my team is what's made all this possible. I've got two hands. There's only so much sushi I can make. And I'm still making it. All right, I'm gonna go with So the first person I want to introduce, it's my cousin. So within the Asian culture, right? My grandmother raised us cousins to be brothers. So Tony is really, we were raised by the same grandmother as brothers. And Tony, I'm proudly to say that he is the president of JP Fuji Group. And this is the first time I'm saying it in public, so I'm sorry, Tony. Ming Cho. He's been doing sushi with me since he was 15 years old. I think amazing chef. The student has officially become the teacher. Oftentimes when we work together, I help him put together the menu, and sometimes I'll ask him, "How's this going?" He said, "Taste it," and I'll taste it, and you know what? It's fine. You do your thing. I gotta go. And that's how it is now. Ming's also my cousin. And then my brother, John. He is the head of the construction part of the JP Fuji Group. He's my older brother. And within families, since my other brother, Johnny, is sitting right next to him, guys, I don't want to hear it. They have the same name. It's John and Johnny, okay? The reason was because when we first moved to the States, we were immigrants, we didn't know any better. They didn't know John and Johnny were the same name. True story. Me, the name Jimmy. So my mother was working as a seamstress, and I would go there when I was a little boy. I was maybe 4 or 5 years old, and I would go there and had to help her with the threads and cutting it and all that stuff. Because young eyes are good, right? Not like right now anymore, but. And then her friend just looked at me and says, "Oh, you look like a Jimmy." Well, that's how I was named. But Johnny, my brother, so my brother John is the head of construction, my brother Johnny is the head of kitchen food. And I'm so proud to be able to work with my family. And then I have Tinny Chung Hoffman. She's my god sister. She's been by my side since day one. Have you guys ever heard of the myth of the Chinese dragon lady? It's not a myth. She's sitting right there. I've got Matt Cameron, who's my business strategic advisor. He doesn't like it when I call him my counsel, which he really is. But he's not here tonight. But Matt's an amazing guy. I've got Stephen Chung. He's one of the back office managers. We've got Chloe Kim, who's our social media specialist. New to the team, I have Stephanie Nguyen. She's also one of our social media specialists. And that little stinker of a kid, that's my nephew Gavin. And of course, a special thank you to Spencer Grabowski, who's not here tonight, but Spencer had a big part in, Spencer is my representation with the board, and Spencer's an amazing person. But if I'm forgetting anybody, I'm so sorry. But I really thank you to so many people. I feel like with this moment, I think a lot of people in this room have seen me since day one to now, and I just feel like I thank you for having been a big support to Fuji, to me, to my family. I just can't say enough. Thank you. A million thank yous. Mr. Walter, good to see you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Quincy.
Rob, you're truly a hard act to follow. I can't.
Wow, that's tough to pass. I don't want to follow either one of them. But we're going to move along to the Bruce Wood Grant. And here to present the Bruce Wood Grant is Ryan Barrett. Ryan is the Vice President of Operations of the E.L. Barrett Company. He's also the clerk of the Quincy Chamber of Commerce and lifelong friend of the Wood family. Ryan has been an active member of the Quincy Chamber Board of Directors for the past 10 years, co-founder of the Quincy Young Professionals, and was instrumental in getting the ball rolling for the Bruce Wood Grant 5 years ago. Ryan?
Put this here because I'll probably break it. Well, I'll be brief, but I wanted to thank everybody for the opportunity for allowing me to present the award tonight. Known the Wood family my entire life. I met Bruce when I think I was about 3. Kathy might know the story better than I, but I was at Quincy Youth Hockey. And
Coach is here. Step up to
a
the
little
mic.
closer.
There you go.
First time speaking on a microphone, buddy, so appreciate the opportunity again, thank you. But anyways, I met Bruce when I was, from what my mother told me, he was about 3 years old running around the rink, and he scooped me up. And Tina Cahill will know this one well, where he, I'm sure it ended with a finger to the belly with me looking down on my shirt innocently enough to catch a knuckle to the nose. So when later on in life, started working for my family's business, and the chamber was founded around then, Bruce tapped me to kind of get involved and eventually head up the young professional group and eventually got on the board. And then from there, they were able to kind of help me work on the committee membership for the golf tournament. So unfortunately, once we kind of revamped the golf tournament, Bruce had actually passed before we had that fall tournament. So we found it fitting, as a group of us got together, to establish the Bruce Wood Grant being funded by the golf tournament, which was an amazing opportunity, something, I hadn't tried before, but on our end of it, I was 26 years old, didn't really know what I was doing, but wasn't running a $1 billion company, but, trying to do a golf tournament. So anyways, as it grew, more people started committing more funds. The Wood family, many friends and family members, many founders of the chamber were able to kick in. So this year's recipient of the Bruce Wood Grant personifies what Bruce stood for. Work hard, have fun, and give back to your community any way you could. And I think with Break Rock, them being the recipients and them being only in business in the city of Quincy for a year and have already committed more than $10,000 to the community in donations is, to me, is astonishing. And they have a great business, and I'm really proud of them. Please come up, Jay. I'd like to say Jay and V and Sarah is here as well, who's the manager. I'd like to have them come up now and receive the award.
Thank you very much, appreciate it. Try to make it brief. About 15 years ago and 30 pounds ago, I worked at the Boston Bruins with a good friend of mine who's here tonight, Brian Deegan, and had a brief opportunity to meet Bruce Wood in a chance encounter at the Bruins game. He struck me as jovial, inviting, some serious sarcasm and wit, which makes sense. He was hanging out with Brian. Just a good guy from the Granite City. Flash forward 10 years, Brian calls me when he knows I'm looking for a space in the city of Quincy for a brewery, and he says, let me introduce you to Mike Wood. So everything kind of comes full circle. Didn't end up working with Mike on a location, but he was certainly helpful in connecting the dots. I then later found out from Brian, who lost his father tragically, U.S. Marshal Bill Deegan, at a young age, how he knew the Woods. And that was in large part because the community, chiefly among them, the Wood family and Bruce, stepped up, did the odds and ends around, helped out the family, brought them to countless hockey practices. And I think character is shown in those moments where it's not in front of a camera, it's behind the scenes. So testament to Bruce, his character. I've had a chance to meet Mike, Tim, and some of the other Wood family members. They've been supportive. Can't thank them enough. So I appreciate it. We're honored to get the award. I'd also like to just say thank you to the Chamber for the opportunity, for Tim, for his continued support. It's been a great partner, not only for Break Rock, but for the Marina Bay Business Association. To the mayor for fostering a community that is appreciative of business and makes it easy. As a brewery, especially in a city or town where they haven't had one before, can be a little scary. You sometimes get what I call the DMV mentality, coming from a position of no, no, no. That was not the case, whether it was the water department, fire, the mayor's office, particularly the clerk's office, Nikki Crispo and Sue Kindragan, been great to us. We found more yeses and how can we help rather than no's. And that makes a tremendous difference to someone starting a business when they have so many other things to worry about as well. So thank you to the mayor, his administration, all the people that show up and do those jobs, and allowing us to focus on our businesses and showing up every day to do the job. So once again, thank you. Thank you for inviting us into the community. It's been a heck of a lot of fun being the new guy on the block, and we look forward to supporting Quincy, some of the great nonprofits in the city as we move forward here. Thank you for the support.
All right, so to present the first Phyllis Godwin Women in Business Award is Phyllis Godwin herself, accompanied by her granddaughter, Sally Meehan. As most of you know, Phyllis Godwin is the owner and CEO of Granite City Electric, a company started by her father, Nicholas Papani, in 1923. He chose his daughter, Phyllis Papani Godwin, to be his successor, and Phyllis became principal owner of the company in 1969. In a male-dominated industry, Phyllis took over the company in earnest in 1973. At that time, Granite City had one store here in Quincy. Soon, Phyllis expanded to South Yarmouth, Martha's Vineyard, and Plymouth. Today, Granite City Electric is in 5 New England states with 30 locations and 3 distribution centers, all because of this woman. So, in addition to running a successful business, Phyllis has opened many doors for women in business, and I'm sure most of you women in this room can agree to that. She served on the board of directors of the South Shore Chamber of Commerce and was elected the first woman chair of that board. She had the foresight 26 years ago to start the WBC, the Women's Business Connection at the South Shore Chamber. She started Women in Electrical Industry Organization and was voted the first trailblazer for this group. She was one of the first women in Massachusetts to serve on a bank board of directors. And after a Supreme Court ruling in 1987 giving women access to male-only business clubs and organizations, Phyllis became the first woman to join the Quincy Rotary Club. Please welcome Phyllis Godwin.
So much. Oh, Quincy is just such an amazing place and a wonderful place to do business. And my congratulations to all the people tonight that we heard from. They're just so amazing. I want to introduce my very talented granddaughter, Sally. Sally Meehan was part of the selection committee, and she worked with me. And in the future, this is going to be an annual award. Sally will be giving the award in her grandmother's name. So, well, you know, when you're 96 years old, you have to kind of plan ahead. So. But I've been so blessed and so fortunate. And when we first announced the fact that we were going to have this award, we were curious about how many people would respond. And we were just overwhelmed by 25 fabulous, wonderful, completed applications. And I'll tell you, women-owned businesses are alive and well and prospering. These applications just represented so many different industries, like healthcare and performing arts, and service industries like doing your taxes or painting and cleaning your home and office, and just amazing, wonderful businesses. I honestly wish that we could give an award to every single applicant because they were all so deserving. Oh, it was wonderful. I'll tell you, to all of the women business people in this room, just keep learning, just keep growing, and just keep helping each other. I think it's important to help, mentor, and support other women in business because I have a lot of confidence in the great power of the sisterhood. Yay! Thank you guys, too, for supporting the sisterhood. We're all in this together, and you guys know a lot about the brotherhood, and we're just learning. But we've learned a lot. And as we went through the applications, and we did it very, very diligently, I'll tell you, that selection committee went through every single application, and we talked about them, and we were always so amazed at them. But there was one that really stood out, and that was Marina Cappy. And Marina started the Marina Studio at Marina Bay, of all places. And she was the first woman to own a film studio, because that's what they are. They're a film studio right here in our hometown. Imagine a film studio. And since Marina started it, there have been a couple of other women who have started film studios. And I think that that's great for the industry because gender diversity makes every industry better. We all know that. Marina had to take a lot of risks to do this. She had to really change the whole direction of her life and her career. Her previous career had been in construction management, and so she brought a lot of the same skill sets to this new career. And she bought a building in Marina Bay. It's huge. It was formerly a big sports complex. And Sally and I went to visit it the other day, and we were just blown away. It's amazing. She has taken a lot of risks, and it's not easy, but Marina is young and talented and really has a very strong mental and physical core, and she's a yoga, she takes yoga too. And so I just immediately, when I first met her, I said, "You're amazing, I want to adopt you." And now I want you all to meet Marina Cappy, and she'll tell you her story. Marina, where are you? Here she is. Oh, well, we're giving Marina a real award. And
Do you want to hold the award
oh,
so we know that you want it?
oh, sure. That's your award.
away from, down a little. No,
We're gonna move that way. Oh, this, okay.
I'll do like sorority squad.
Good evening. Thank you, guys. And Phyllis, thank you so much. You're the sweetest human being I've ever met. What an honor. I was driving in Palm Beach when Tim Cahill called me and said that I had won this award, which I really had not much to do with. And the bridge went up because I almost drove off the road, but thank God because I was able to stop going over the bridge. But it really is an honor, and since the day that I came up with this crazy idea, I walked into the O'Connell's office and I said, can you sell me the building? I want to open a movie studio. And I think Peter O'Connell and Tom O'Connell probably thought I was absolutely crazy. And they did, but we made it work. I then adopted Mackenzie, who has been so important to this company for the last 2 years, and it's just been absolutely amazing. So thank you to the O'Connells. If it wasn't for Walter Hannon getting me through COVID, golfing here every single day, I don't think we would have gotten there, but here we are. But Phyllis, gosh, what an influential, amazing human being. I feel just so honored. I don't even know what to say. It's just so beautiful what she's done as a pioneer to being an advocate for women and women in business. And that's not easy. When I first met with her last Friday with her granddaughter, I didn't know we had so much in common. But we're both from Italian immigrant backgrounds, and I was in construction with my grandfather owned a construction company on both sides, and she raised two children in Hingham like I do. She also has a very fond passion for golf like I do, and we both went to Suffolk, so there was so much in common, and she's just incredible. So I can't thank her enough and Tim Cahill enough for this award, and I appreciate everyone in this room and everyone in Quincy who has supported me from day one, everyone at Marina Bay. The O'Connell family has been just incredible to me, all of them, and Mayor Koch, besides Tim, Chris Walker, everyone. If I missed you, everyone's been so amazing and so supportive of what I'm trying to do, and it's not easy, but it's been amazing. So thank you, Quincy. Thank you, everyone in this room, and congratulations to everyone that's won an award tonight, especially you, Mr. Hale. I've always wanted to meet you. You've been a sincere, just idol in my eyes at what you've done, and women, men, all of us that get to be here. The scholarship that I won tonight, I sit on the board of Boston Arts Academy, which is a Boston public school that is privately funded, that we raise the money to support children in the arts that don't have the means to do so going through high school. And my beautiful partner, Danelle Clark, who she runs the show, she's here, and I will donate the scholarship to Boston Arts Academy to fund a child to get through. My gorgeous mother over here, Karen, she is the light of my life, as well as my sister over there, Angela. Joe from my PR firm, Regan, and my very first boss that taught me half of what I know, Vishnu Dorswamy. First boss out of college, he's here tonight, my best friend Mario. Everyone's been so supportive of my whole career, and I wouldn't be anywhere without anyone. So thank you the O'Connells, thank you everyone.
I get the last word. You've all been fantastic, really, really good. And I think Jimmy has said it, I think Marina has said it, I think Jay has said it, and certainly Rob Hale has said it. Two most important words in English language are thank you. Thank you all for tonight, thank you for all that you've done, and thank you to these great businesses who have taught us a lot tonight. Have a great night, thank you.